Good morning. Welcome to Carmel Valley Community Chapel on this, my personal favorite day of the year. We get an extra hour of sleep. I wish we could do that every week, but alas, once a year. Now it is. Pardon my repeating, but good morning. Now we've officially welcomed the people that are joining us on the YouTube live stream. I want to thank Diane Salmon for being our liturgist this morning, and Jennifer Garbarino for our refreshments this morning. And this morning, we are lucky to welcome back to the chapel a wonderful soprano, Robin McKee Williams. Thank you, Robin, for being with us. Look forward to your music today. At this point in the service, I invite all who are able to please stand and join responsively in the call to worship printed in the bulletin.
Welcome to this time and this place
To
rediscover the wondrous gift of free religious community.
To renew our faith in the holiness, goodness, and beauty of life.
To reaffirm the way of the open mind and full heart. To rekindle the flame of memory and hope. And to reclaim the vision of an earth made fair, with all her people one.
Let us join together in singing our opening hymn, "This Is My Song," the words to which are printed in your song sheet.
This is my song.
At this point in the service, I invite us all into a few moments of silent meditation and prayer. I invite you to take this time to center your hearts, your minds, your bodies, and your spirits into this lovely container that we are creating for ourselves and one another. After a few moments of silent meditation has gone by, we'll have a musical meditation that will bring us back into the flow of our liturgy and the rest of our service. Let us join together now in silent meditation.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long ways from home, a long ways from home, a long ways from home, a long ways from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone, a long ways from home, a long ways from home, a long
Thank you, Robin. You know, I just realized in the moment of now, this service, how perfect that piece of music is for the psalm reading today. The psalm that is in our lectionary reading for today is Psalm 43. But this psalm is one half of a larger work that began with Psalm 42. We often have psalms in which two psalms are pushed together in one psalm, and here's the opposite, where they're broken apart into two different psalms, Psalm 42 and 43. But scholars recognize that this is really one psalm. So we're just going to hear Psalm 43, but I do want to remind folks of Psalm 42. It's a psalm that begins with what I hope will be familiar refrain to many of us. As a doe longs for flowing streams, so longs my soul for you, O God. You won't hear that because this is Psalm 43, not 42. This psalm is a lament, and the psalmist is thirsting for God's presence in the face of intense challenges, oppression, despair. When you read the two psalms together, it's obvious that the psalmist is experiencing or feeling the absence of God. And sometimes I feel like a motherless child. What a wonderful paraphrase of what the psalmist is feeling. Let's take a listen to how this psalm ends. Psalm 43.
So here is Psalm 43. Grant me justice, Adonai. Take up my case against a faithless nation. From a person of deceit and wrong, free me. For you, Adonai, are my stronghold. Why should you neglect me? Why should I go in gloom, pressed by the foe? Send forth your light and your truth. It is they that will guide me. They will bring me to your holy mountain, your dwelling place. Let me come to your altar, Adonai, my greatest joy, and let me acclaim you with the lyre, Adonai, my God. How bent my whole being is, how you moan for me. Hope in God, for I will yet acclaim you, your rescuing presence, Adonai.
Which is the other insert in your bulletin this morning.
Let me be as Christ.
This weekend, the population of Yuba City, California, has tripled. Does anybody know why? It's because of the annual Sikh festival, which goes through the weekend. An expected 200,000 people will be present to participate in the largest Sikh festival in the world, outside of India. Sikhism originated in the 15th century in the Punjab province of India. It is a monotheistic religion that has deep respect for other religions, since they believe that no religion, including their own, has all the answers. While it is one of the youngest of the world's major religions, it ranks as the 9th largest religion in the world, with followers numbering between 25 and 28 million. In the November issue of the Christian Century, there was an article by Jafar Iqbal that I can only describe as chicken soup for the soul. It's a story about interfaith cooperation in the northern part of India, a country that has seen its share of conflict between different religions. And this took place in a region called Punjab, in the Barnala district, in the villages of Kutba Bamania. I hope I said that close to correct. The population of Punjab consists of 57.7% Sikh, 38.5% Hindu, and less than 2% who identify as Muslims, according to a 2021 census. Now, after the partition of India into the predominantly Hindu state of India and the predominantly Muslim state of Pakistan, many of the mosques in India fell into disrepair due to unuse. There had also been a good deal of violence during the partitioning, and many of the sacred sites had been damaged. It turns out that over the past several decades, there have been many efforts made to restore some of the damaged and neglected religious sites. Iqbal writes in his article, quote, "The picturesque village of Kutba Bamania has a unique story to tell. While Muslims had migrated to Pakistan during the partition, a few families remained behind. The decision to restore the mosque was not merely an act of rebuilding, but a gesture to reclaim shared history and reaffirm unity. Quote, "Our village sets a global example of unity," unquote, said Bhuta Singh, aptly capturing the sentiment there. Amrinder Paul Singh, who lives in Kutba Bamania, said the village stands as a beacon of love and that its people's shared history endures. The mosque's construction was a collaborative endeavor reflecting the spirit of all communities involved, he said. We urge the people of Punjab and India to emulate our communal harmony. Regrettably, we haven't received government support. The creation of both the Gurdwara and the mosque was solely through our collective efforts. Now that term, Gurdwara, refers to the house of worship, the place of gathering, of assembly for the Sikh people. So similar to mosque, temple, church, synagogue. Both the Indian and Pakistani governments have occasionally taken steps to restore and preserve religious places affected by partition. They have allocated funds for the maintenance and renovation of historically significant religious sites. But local communities residing near damaged religious places have often had to take it upon themselves to restore and maintain those sites. And this includes Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, and other religious peoples collaborating to build and preserve what they consider to be a shared heritage. Interfaith groups have come together to restore and maintain these religious spaces. These initiatives emphasize unity and cooperation among different religious communities. The restoration of the mosque is like reclaiming a piece of their heritage. People of all religious communities are coming together to maintain it. Quote, "The mosque in our village predated the partition, but sadly, it was closed post-partition," said Mohammed Mursalin, a resident of Qutba Bamanaya. The Sikhs in the village took the initiative to construct a Gurudwara initially. Later, responding to the request of the Muslim community, they built a mosque and handed it over to us. Before this, our village lacked a mosque. We observe 5 daily prayers in the mosque and coexist harmoniously in our community, end quote. And then he added, "This illustration of love and unity should resonate throughout the nation. People must unite, sharing both joy and sorrow, as we do in our village," end quote. In a state that has witnessed a significant drop in the Muslim population from over 40% before the partitioning to less than 2% now, villagers are channeling their generosity to rebuild bridges and abandoned places of worship. You see, what's happening to the buildings is also happening in the community. Over 165 mosques have been rejuvenated in recent years, each telling a story of unity and collaboration. Quote, "This kind of brotherhood should prevail across India. Love must be nurtured and animosity must dissolve," Mursalin said. "Humanity's values should take precedence, and compassion towards one another should prevail." This village mosque is not an isolated incident, he goes on to say. Over 30 mosques have been revived, echoing the same message of unity and harmony. Although our Muslim community is small, we coexist harmoniously with our Sikh counterparts. The bond between our two communities mirrors the camaraderie of the times of the Sikh gurus. From Qutba Bamanaya to the village of Barhatgarh in Barnala, stories of unity continue to shine their light. Amandeep Singh, a Sikh, donated land for a mosque when he realized his Muslim friends had to travel far to say their prayers. His act of kindness transcended religious barriers, reflecting a spirit of shared humanity that refuses to be confined by labels. Quote, "With a modest family and a 2,000 square foot plot, we made the decision to donate the land," Singh said, learning that Muslims in our vicinity lacked a proper space for prayers. Singh's gesture resonated with the entire village, which ignited a collective effort to build the mosque. Standing united and transcending religious boundaries, they all say that kindness is their common thread with one another. Restoring these mosques isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's also about resurrecting our shared humanity. Quote, "I firmly believe in the equality of all. No religion holds greater importance over another," Singh said. Having visited Pakistan, I've experienced heartwarming affection from the people there. Regardless of media portrayal or government statements, my sentiment towards people remains warm. Another Sikh, an elderly woman in the village, said, quote, "We are overjoyed with our son Amandeep's decision to donate land for the mosque's construction for our Muslim brothers and sisters in the village. He has brought pride to his father and our family. Muslims and Sikhs coexist like family here." Back in Barnala, a Hindu family also contributed land for the construction of Aman Masjid. The village embodies the true spirit of coexistence. The mosque, temple, and Sikh temple stand side by side, reflecting shared values. Quote, "In 2015, my grandfather initiated the construction of this temple with the support of the villagers," said Manprit Sharma, a local Hindu resident. Surprisingly, Muslims also participated actively in the temple's construction. During this time, some Muslims approached my uncle, expressing their need for a mosque, and inquired whether the Hindu community could provide some land for it. Following discussions among the Hindus, we decided to grant the Muslims a piece of land to construct their mosque. End quote. These villages are not just places. They are symbols of harmony and interfaith cooperation. In a nation where divisions often overshadow unity, these villages shine as beacons of hope, Iqbal writes. Quote, "The entire village came together to build the mosque, collectively contributing $15,000 toward its construction," said Chirag Khan, a farmer. People from all religious backgrounds, Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs, actively participated in making this mosque a reality. Villagers joined forces as laborers, working hand in hand for its completion. Our unity knows no bounds. We celebrate the Hindu festival Diwali jointly at the local Gurdwara, mosque, and temple, truly exemplifying the essence of togetherness in our community. End quote. For decades, Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus have been joining together in these little rural villages to support one another, to rebuild damaged or neglected worship spaces, or to build completely new ones from scratch. And they all continue to be faithful in their different religious traditions. And they all share in one another's festivals. In this hyper-divided world in which we live in, these Sikh, Hindu, and Muslim villagers are showing us a way to live together with mutual respect, empathy, cooperation, and kindness. And the work goes much deeper than rebuilding a physical structure. It is nurturing a spirit of community that transcends all religious differences among them. In Psalm 42 and 43, the psalmist laments over the absence of God, over the spiritual and physical gulf that has arisen between the psalmist and the temple, the place where the psalmist is supposed to go and be in God's presence. And it feels as if one's own being was bent over, thirsting for life, for goodness, feeling wounded and despairing, yet all the while having hope, asking for divine light and truth to guide and to heal. And it does appear, in my opinion, that God does that. Not by some divine will or command, but through the hearts and the hands of people who come together to care for one another and have found a way to recognize their kinship for neighbors of differing faiths and ethnicities. They have rebuilt and restored their own humanity. And whatever that happens, God's presence is never far away from people and communities who have learned how to love one another.
Please give with love and generosity.
I am a weary wanderer. I've traveled far and wide in search of satisfactions I could not find inside. But everywhere I traveled, I'm searching in the rain. And every city floods me with emptiness and pain. I left my homeland long ago with pockets full of gold. I squandered my inheritance. I slept out in the cold, till in my darkest hour I cried out in despair. Oh, lead me back to my childhood home, back to my father's care. And if he will not have me, I'll go down on bended knee and ask my generous father if a servant I could be. Though once I was his cherished one, I fear that in my shame I am no longer privileged to bear our family name. My father sees me coming from far across the field. He runs to hold me in his arms before I reach his hill. I beg for his forgiveness. I don't deserve his grace. He cries, I found you, child of mine, as tears stream down his face.
Please join me in blessing the gifts together. Holy One, whose heart abounds with gifts, receive these offerings as a sign of our intention to live surrounded by your mercy, inspired by your Spirit, open to the joy of your presence, kind to one another, and generous towards your world. Amen.
Good. And now we have a very special stewardship message all the way from Ecuador. Let's welcome Holly Thompson to the chapel.
Hello from Ecuador. Holly's got some encouraging words for you.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to share a message today about evergreening, a quality we who frequent the chapel possess, which bears a relationship to the topic of stewardship. I'm so grateful for our chapel that every so often I post about us on Facebook. In August, I wrote, "You may not know this about me, but my favorite hour and a half each week is spent on Sunday at the chapel. Usually, I watch the service with John on Rich Cheatham's YouTube channel, and we Zoom with friends after the service. I hope you know how honored we YouTube viewers are to benefit from the commitment of the chapel to its remote viewers. Just today, I went to YouTube to replay the September service where Caden played the oboe with Pastor Rick on the piano. These moments sink into our souls like roots in rich soil suitable for evergreening organisms such as us. A few months ago, I was in Carmel Valley Village during Pride Week and was doubly blessed to be present in our sanctuary for the feeding and growth of souls that occurs weekly, one to another. It's a fantastic experience to be among the saints of God in a transformative process of growth and renewal. A week or so later in a service, we considered the story of Jesus' teachability from the book that took Matthew as its title. In the account, which I shared on Facebook, Jesus realized that his extension of God's love was meant for all. There should be rights for all, love for all. Even for a Syro-Phoenician Canaanite woman with a sick daughter. The reflection created space for a community discussion regarding our experiences of the sacred, with people sharing examples of realizations that have profoundly changed us. As we approach the Christmas season, we can say that we are like our brother Jesus, ever growing, ever greening, and always on the lookout for those who need us in a world that is sometimes cruel and unjust. Earlier this year, in July, a daughter of smoke and fire, Ava Homa, an award-winning author and advocate for human rights, was among us. I'm only halfway through the book John bought for me because I only read 2 pages at a time in the bathroom. But it's wonderful and causes me to appreciate churches like ours that would welcome Homa in to be able to learn and grow from her life and mission. And speaking of books, you knew I was going to mention the book group, didn't you? Our chapel's weekly plunge into the deep, cleansing, refreshing waters of study makes us stronger and kinder every week. We get to meet with some of the most loving and insightful people you'll ever want to know. Evergreening as we listen and support one another in spiritual journeys. In thinking about my expenditures of energy and time, my investments of love and light, and all that I am. I'm led to the chapel again and again. As a trustee on our board, my most important mission is to be a good steward, taking stock of our needs and resources. And I can assure you that our board treasures every talent and takes every dollar seriously. As you know, the Carmel Valley Community Chapel keeps the lights on and funds the many requirements of maintaining a physical space and a shop. Coming out of the pandemic, we struggled to come up with a balanced budget for this year, but because of the many wise and generous donors we have, as well as a benefit shop that has risen to the cream of the crop, we're going to make it one more year. I've been a part of the chapel long enough to slip sometimes and say thrift store instead of benefit shop. I have fond memories, as do many of you, of the days when those on limited incomes could find clothes and kitchen items here at rock bottom prices. Over the years, the store has changed focus in accordance with the interests and talents of those operating it. And now we are able to turn our profitability on very nice items into larger donations we make to other nonprofit groups and agencies that do continue to offer services of many kinds to folks in need of the basics. And it's all good. Thank you, Karen and Greg. And since my topic is evergreening, I can't help but mention Greg's work greening the chapel. Who knows what we may have to look forward to once again in our season of Advent coming up. I'm not really done with all the reasons I support the work of the chapel, but I hope I've given you a picture of what you mean to me and why I'm taking the Stewardship Challenge as another opportunity to grow in faith and love.
That's great.
Well, thank you, Holly, wherever you are out there in the virtual world. We also appreciate deeply all of our virtual members and visitors who join us for worship the YouTube live stream Sunday. At this point in our service, I invite anyone who wishes to share their joys, their concerns, and if there is any way in which we might be able to respond solidarity with you, please let us know. If there's a phrase we could repeat together, like God hear our prayers, or thanks be to God, or blessed be. Is there anything that folks have to share this morning? Well, I have one thing. Just so delighted to see Steve and Barbara Brooks back with us. Great to have you back in the and thanks. Yeah. And we've missed you. So. I've missed you. Well, thanks. Is there anything that folks have to share this morning? Well, then let's join together for a few moments of silent prayer. After a little bit of time has gone by, I'll invite us to join together version of the prayer of Jesus. We're shifting this month back to the New Zealand Prayer Book version. It's printed in the bulletin. Let's join together for a few moments of silent prayer. Gracious Spirit, we are grateful that you are never far away, within us and amongst us, bringing light and hope and healing. This morning, I am especially grateful for all those communities throughout this world that have learned how to come together with people who are different faiths, different traditions, different ethnicities, and to treat everyone as kinfolk, to have no outsiders. With all the challenges, all the struggles and the difficulties and the traumas and the tragedies in our world, help us be mindful of all the bright spots as well, for the healing and the hope that they offer us, that we may be strengthened in our love and care for one another and for our wider community. Hear us now as we say this new version of that ancient prayer that our brother Jesus taught us to pray, saying, Eternal Spirit, earth maker, pain bearer, life giver, source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven, the hallowing of your name shall echo through the universe. The way of your justice be followed by the peoples of the earth. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings. Your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope and come on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forever. Amen. At this point, we have announcements, what's happening this week, anything that you'd like to share with the community. We will have our meditation service this Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., and the link will be going out before in the afternoon sometime. And we do have our Thursday book group that's meeting at 1:30 this Thursday, also on Zoom. Are there any announcements that folks have to make here? Harriet, let me get the microphone to you. Oh, yes, you do. The people online want to hear your voice.
Well, we were talking about prayers, and I just remember Carolyn Rice and her daughter Pam that's having many problems. And I just want us all to remember Carolyn Rice and their family with Pam, and lots of prayers to them.
Yeah. Thank you, Harriet. Prayers for Pam, for Bob and Carolyn and the family. God, hear our prayers. Are there any other announcements that folks have to make? I will just remind you of what we said last Sunday, and that is that the Board of Trustees is eager to hear your desires and opinions and thoughts and feelings about the Sunday morning service on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, we have the big 9 p.m. evening service. And we're trying to decide whether we should have a morning service or not. If we do have a service, should it be live or should it be Zoom? So talk to a board member or me, and we'll communicate your